Supply chain management, one thing I love about it is that there's so many things you can do with it. You can go into a purchasing role. You can go into warehousing and distribution. You can go into transportation, logistics. You can go into being production planners or schedulers. There's just so many different career paths you can take with it. And it's in really high demand because companies are realizing the impact that these roles have on their company as a whole and on the bottom lines of their companies. And so over the last 10, 15 years, companies have really said, wow, we need these positions. And if we can get someone that has formal education in these areas, it's going to give us a competitive advantage over our competitors. And so the demand for our students has just really increased greatly, and we can't even fill the demands that the companies are asking for, the positions that they need filled. And so we work with those companies to make sure that the product, the students that we're putting out do fit the needs of what these companies need. In the skills and the classroom learning that they have. So there's just such high demand for it. Right now the statistics says that there is 6 to 9 jobs for every supply chain graduate in the nation. And so that just shows you right now why it's in such high demand.
So the thing that drew me to Western Illinois University would have to be the inclusiveness of the small town. I came from a small town, and to go to a school that was larger than obviously my high school, but still had that small town feel of knowing that everything that the university puts on, the community is in full support, week in, week out. The constant community impact is a really big thing that I really appreciate that Macomb does for Western Illinois University. When it comes to supply chain management, I think all students at the university have a goal of acquiring a job upon graduation, and I know that with the faculty and staff that we have in supply chain management here at Western Illinois University, that they really set you up for success in achieving that goal that every student has. So that was one thing that made me want to go into it. As a business student, you're kind of undecided on what business degree you want to go into, but supply chain management kind of runs the world, and so definitely seemed fit for me.
So I think one thing as a professor, I see my role as, yes, I'm going to teach them in the classroom, I'm going to instruct them, but also my job really is to help them start their careers. And that's really honestly how I view it. So I want those students to come into my office hours and to work on their resumes together. And I will call these companies, or the companies have questions about certain students, and I'm gladly to answer those or write recommendation letters. Again, trying to encourage those students to get out and network. I drive a van to take students to field trips all the time. It takes time away from my personal family, but I feel like it's important for that student. I try to give them advice all the time on how to go in and do a successful interview, and because again, my job is teaching, but my job when it boils down is really about getting them a start on their career, and that's really how I see it.
The way that I always see their role is they're more than just professors to us. To a lot of the students, they're just simply role models. The classes that we have are a lot smaller, and so there's a lot more one-on-one connection. We take several classes with our professors, and they're well known in the industry and very well respected, whichever company we go and talk to. And to have someone to even kind of say like, oh, you're a little Zimmerman, or you're just a mini Bart Jennings, like that's probably the best compliment you can possibly get as a student when you speak with these companies. There's a lot of other schools out in the nation that have a logistics degree, and they'll just call it supply chain management. So where they may be very good at trucking, and where there might be a lot of jobs into that and managing the trucking industry, we have a more full process of it. So we'll do everything between procurement and processing as well. And so I like to think that supply chain in those 3 divisions is logistics, so transportation, procurement, and then the process as well. And then so for companies like Amazon to come and recruit for us as well, and places like John Deere where they have those assembly lines, they have buyers that come in, the same thing with NTN Bauer here in town. Some other schools, they'll have a supply chain degree, but it's really just logistics. So you actually get a lot more here at Western than you would at other schools.
We call ourselves a comprehensive program. We really do teach from purchase to delivery. A lot of other schools might focus just on procurement or just on transportation, but we teach it all. Supply chain management is a degree that your future career in it will impact everybody. More than you realize. Everything from how we get our stuff, and when there's hurricanes across the world, how that impacts the supplies in our grocery stores. That's supply chain. And so our field is extremely important to the overall economy of this world. And I think that, again, because there are so many things you can do with it, within supply chain as an education path, you can have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. You really are setting your future up for success because there's so many things you can do with it.
I think she pretty much hit it on the nail on the head on that one. Supply chain, I agree, runs the world. There's no company or business that doesn't have a supply chain. I work at a local pizza shop here in town, and Larry and I have discussed, we've got a small supply chain, but we've got one. And just as, when I did my internship with Archer Daniels Midland Company over the summer, they have one of the world's largest supply chains. And so no matter where you go, there will be a supply chain. And so that's why I think it's important, maybe not for everyone to study, but for everyone to kind of have that comprehensive of what it really means.